I don't think it.
I think it's how you value the FE. I think
I mean,
that's
I
a little
think
more
you can prefer
internal.
one way or the other, but I don't think the FE cares. I think the FI might care. I don't think the FE actually cares.
It might be how you TI your FE in a sense. Like, I don't know. Like I think that nines care about FE in a more community way than others would, like eights would.
Yeah, like I said, I view it much more like you have seemed to value it a bit more. Like I see it, I feed it, and I like to feed it, and I like to use it as a tool, but it's not real.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I
then
see
that
the
makes
use in
it
it more.
sound like
that value that you seem to associate with it.
It makes it sound like my job as an FE creative needs to be more, just more. You were saying intense. So it sounds like maybe being monotone and just sort of chill is not as productive towards my creative FE as perhaps
maybe
the
intensity.
Well, I think that because you said you're 9, right?
It's almost like robustness. It's like how savory. I'm in food terms, but it's a flavorful.
I think 8s tend to be more intense and 9s tend to be more relaxed because 9s are looking for more of a wholesome community sense for 8s are more robustly, right? But they're just.
Well, I think
the Enneagrams probably play a lot
in there too. It's like it's more about feed me than in a more. It's very much I think more relation between.
I think it makes the FE value different.
It's a more self-focused relationship. Something like that.
Yeah, I think it makes your FE use different. I don't know, in a way.
Yeah,
I think it is.
How you value it.
Right. So I'm just I'm trying to figure that out of my head how like the creative would be able to give to the tertiary, because if the tertiary is looking for that, I was talking about bouncing ideas off of you and how you being able to provide your insights and like what you've come up with sort of creative TI style helps me. So I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing in FE terms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I don't know.
Do you feel fed, Audra? Do you feel hungry? You still trying to get your FE met?
I don't know. Seems fine. I don't feel like we were doing a whole lot of FE type stuff, but I also think that I care more about TI stuff. Like that's just it's like I like it, but I'm not even motivated.
I kind of feel like what I just thought maybe instincts play a role.
Yeah, well, that's what I think it might.
Yeah, because you were talking about intensity, but you don't seem as self-generating of that intensity as like Eric or Taylor.
I'm super not self-generating about intensity. I've kind of noticed that it's like I really have to be fed. Like you've got to spark me up. Like I can roll on, but I don't self-generate that intensity very much.
Right.
And I've noticed like in the room, like when I get if there's not any kind of like, for lack of a better term, like kind of FE stuff being generated, like I'm really bad at like stepping up and being the one that has to kind of spark that up. If there's enough out there, then I'll just like gun it, roll in, and I find that much more fun.
Yeah.
I have observed that though, yeah.
Also, something I'm realizing now is that I will oftentimes refer to things in reference to myself as intense or, just like, just something along the lines of like either emotions and intensity or just some form of intensity. And after learning about instincts, I think I'm starting to realize that what I consider to be like, it's got to be a lot. It's got to be like, it's like other people that are like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if perhaps in, your instance, you're like, it takes a lot to rev me up. It might be that it's not as much. Well, like basically your valuing of what a lot is might strike somebody else as like, oh, okay, that's really not a whole lot.
It's more subjective
It
than
doesn't
that.
take a lot to get me revved. Like it just, but it takes some to get me started. Like I don't, if that makes sense. It's like
It's more than nothing.
the pilot light is usually not on in my furnace. And somebody else has got to bring a dadgum lighter over and strike it, and then I can.
Yeah,
And I can roll, but
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking about the TI thing, how you're more concerned with the TI. I kind of feel like in some ways, I don't use creative FE as much, and I'm more concerned with the TI. It's like I'm almost more concerned with the consistency. It's like I'll engage in the FE, but I'm like I mean, like in our conversation, we were able to carry that on for hours, just talking about that stuff, and there wasn't like this point halfway through where we were like, all right, this shit needs to get kicked up. You know, it's like
I gotta pass out, guys. Sorry.
all right, see ya.
Catch y'all later. Nice talking to you guys.
But it's like, you know, it's like when I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I wonder if like the instinct stuff I was talking about, if that's like how much that might play a role. In that sort of valuing of feelings versus thinking.
yeah.
Because I there's a lot of ways that I feel like a particularly bland FE creative.
Well, you're looking at like I mean, just trying to as many variables as possible. You look at like Taylor and me, which self-pres 8 ENTPs, self-pres first, and he's a big TI valuer too. He's a TI heavy. He doesn't show it off as much. He hides it, but sometimes.
He's much more willing to forego any sort of TI delving in favor of
Intensity.
In favor of starting shit.
Yeah. Well, then there's that like SX second. Like is a little more volatile, kind of like. I think he is a little more self-starting on that level. But
I don't think it's
I
neurotic.
And then with like Eric, I don't know. I mean, that's totally different. But he's a 7, and he uses the TI, but I don't know that he values it as much. But yeah, I don't know.
Eric is
trying to like Nick, and he's his function, his kind of valuing of ENTP is kind of weird. I mean, he's so much on the FE.
Nick loves to be an actor, I believe. First time I saw him, he was crying.
Yeah, well, he just plays so much more. He goes to that FE first, which, I mean, I can't think of doing that at all.
I think it's hard to know where I got him. Personally, I think.
As I said, I think that's kind of. I mean, I imagine, anyways, the consistency that I'm trying to draw in my mind is, or the sort of pin that I'm trying to draw in my mind is that, as I mentioned earlier, part of the reason why I sort of identify with Nick is because I get that vibe of that tertiary neuroticism.
Yeah, it's like that abnormal kind of obsession with something. Yeah, the tertiary.
I mean, like I'll fucking spend hours of the day just thinking about different shit, getting annoyed at myself. It's like I'll have thoughts in my head where it's like I'm trying to find consistencies, and then my brain will try to draw consistencies, and I'm like, no, I know that's not that's not something I should be paying attention to. That particular thing, there's no connection to be made there. Shut the fuck up. So it's like I'll actually be getting upset at my attempts at logic.
That's interesting. Little guy yelling, it's like, stop that. You're like, hot and cold. You're like, nope, cold, colder. Come back. Yeah, I don't have that. I just have Ti and Eddie like talking to each other all day, and they just kind of. Inside my head, I don't think Ti ever shuts up. I have to yell at Eddie and go, Eddie, why are you out of energy? It's like, hey. Don't make me talk to myself over here. Don't make me go talk to Effie. I don't like it. I can't talk to Effie. Wake back up, man.
Yeah. Edge, what you're going to need to do is go to the person in the room called Raw Room and mute them. That'll get rid of the echo.
Yeah, mute the bot.
And then the ticking in the background, unfortunately, is just my computer. It's decided to start sounding like a lawnmower recently. It's actually fairly quiet right now, but the other day it was having sounds like.
That's always a good sign, you know, when your computer starts talking to you like that.
I also turned my mic down a bit. I think the sensitivity was much higher earlier. But yeah. I think that's part of what fucked me up with religion, is that obsession with the consistency stuff. Because a lot more people, they were much more comfortable with ambiguity and just living their lives. Whereas me, I wanted to have that shit parsed out. And of course, the people, when it came to Christian religion, the people who actually parse stuff out, of course, how they parse it out never made sense logically. And other people who were having a better time of it weren't really bothering to parse stuff out.
Yeah, well, there's just such a like I consider I'm a simplified Christian is kind of how I could best describe myself. But I mean, it took a lot of time, like, because I had to basically, like, because people try to define things and parse bits, and they have like these isolated pockets of self-consistency. You're like, yeah, but if you look a little wider, you're like, that's not consistent anymore. And so, and then again, I feel like it's that layers thing again. I was always like, well, if you're looking at the layers of, you know, the evolution of language and the translations and all this other content, like, I'm like, you can't actually tell me what you're telling me for real. Like, you can't be that certain. Like, let's go gisty here. Let's talk gists, and then we can discuss. But these absolutes, no. And I eventually kind of came around to a concept that seems to jive, but yeah, it's the whole like actual religion part of it, like what I consider religion, which is the organized, structured, constructed part. Most of that I can't do much with that.
Yeah.
Except pick holes in it. I love to discuss it. It gives a starting point for some good discussions if you get the right people around. But
yeah.
But as a yes or no thing, it's like, yeah.
I mean, that's probably the thing that I missed the most from it was having discussions, particularly about scripture and whatnot, and like what different things could mean or things like that.
Right.
Speaking in more abstract, sort of NI sort of terms about stuff, doing what I was talking about earlier, like, trying to peek behind the veil, as it were. But it was very interesting how once I started, going around people who hung out at churches again, I realized, they don't seem to care about that as much. It's like, It's like what was I gonna say?